I guess it has been a little while since I got ratioed. So Grimes, I like Grimes. I do. I like Grimes. I thought Art Angels was a pretty damn great pop album. I liked her. I liked the way that album was very eccentric. It was very strange. It kept very true to who Grimes is as an artist, but yet she still managed to kind of veer off to the left and do something slightly different for her typical style, and it ended up being great. Like she stayed true to herself as to who she truly was, but still managed to make so many great pop songs on that one. Because I think that what she was doing before Art Angels didn't quite ever grab me or interest me, to be honest. I never really got into Visions, although it is a very loved album for the 2010s. Wasn't ever really that good to me, but I thought Art Angels really was where she entered a very unique stage in her career, and I just wanted to see where she was going to take it because the songs like Venus Fly, Kill V Maim were just so interesting that there wasn't really anything else out there like it, but they were still really good. She, of course, subverted those expectations with We Appreciate Power, a track that came out ages ago at this point, but was almost new metal influenced. It was very weird to see her go down that direction. But then for this new album here, Miss Anthropocene, I think she's once again taken a different direction that I wasn't quite expecting, not entirely sure if her fans were expecting. And for me, I just don't like this. I just can't get into this at all. I've played this quite a few times at this point, still not really getting anything out of it. It just feels incredibly light and thin, and barely feels like it's got an identity. I suppose it is very Grimes, so I guess by me saying it doesn't have much of an identity is kind of wrong because only Grimes would really make this. But at the same time, there's just so little to latch onto. Like I just don't know what the artistic choices were behind some of these vocal performances. There's just very little there. Like it honestly feels like she's vocal riffing most of the time. I just can't get a hold of anything on here, which is the complete opposite of what Our Angels was. Like there was so much personality to her voice. They weren't just buried in the mix in almost every song to the point where you can barely hear them. Like I just don't get tracks like Violence, where again her voice is just completely uh, nondescript, barely there. I just don't enjoy listening to this. Like, what can I gain out of this performance from her? What can I latch onto? What can I connect to? There's barely anything here to say. At least I can say the opening track really does set the tone because you're very much getting what you're going to get for the rest of this runtime on this one here, where the vocals are light as a feather, there's no weight behind anything, the instrumental is so thin, and I don't even know what to say. I feel like my ears just aren't adjusting to this type of album. I feel like someone else's ears could easily think this is amazing, could really think it's like a low-key mood or whatever you want to say, or atmospheric. Maybe it's an atmospheric type of album, and these tracks really sink you in to that atmosphere because it is quite ethereal at times, I suppose. But all of the things I'm saying here are just me guessing at what people could get out of this album because I'm just not getting this at all. I suppose Delete Forever is a nice enough track. It's folky, it's almost country at points actually. She's got this twang to her voice, which mostly sounds like she's imitating that genre really. It doesn't really fit much of the rest of the album. It's a bit of an odd moment. It's fine enough, but again, I just latch on to nothing. It just goes past me and I barely turn my head to look at it. I suppose at its most inoffensive, it's very thin, airy, and I don't really latch onto anything. But then there are moments that are just straight up bad. Like I'm just genuinely shocked at some tracks that just sound really, really bad to my ears. Dark Seed with the feature from Pan, I just don't think her voice really does much for me, honestly. She kind of grates on me a little bit, to be honest. But then Grimes on the chorus doing this like really moody dark wave vocal performance. It just all sounds really cringy. We don't feel our bodies anymore. It's like, come on. New Gods is incredibly lyrically vague. Again, it seems like it's attempting to go for something much deeper than actually what's there on the surface. Like, just reading these lyrics, I just don't really know what she's attempting to talk about here. But then the worst track lyrically is My Name is Dark. The boys are such a bore, the girls are such a bore, we never trust the government. And that's just one line that's just so bad to me. Like, the entire track is just filled with edgy, dark lyrics that just sound like a caricature of something much deeper and darker that Grimes is nowhere near reaching. You know, if Halsey wrote some of these lyrics, I think she'd get absolutely dogpiled on. Obviously she didn't, but I feel like Halsey has the capacity to write awful lyrics like this because so many of her songs are just filled with terrible lyrics. But I guess Grimes gets let off for whatever reason. I guess when I'm trying to think of some positives to say about this album, there's not a lot I can really point at, but I suppose I could say that You'll Miss Me When I'm Not Around sort of is reminiscent of Art Angels. Like, you could maybe sneak this onto that album and it wouldn't sound too out of place. It's got a pretty sunny melody to it that I think fits on that album somewhere thereabouts. But even then, it would probably be like a lower tier track on the album. The drum and bass instrumental that kicks in on track 5 I thought was pretty cool. It sort of feels out of place and more feels a bit like a parody. Like, I can't really explain it, but it just kind of jumps in out of nowhere and I just don't really know why it's there. It reminds me of something like 21 Pilots would do, where they just kind of throw in random ideas on albums like Blurry Face and you're just like, you guys can't pull this off, so I don't know why you're doing it. But I guess Grimes is at least making it sound pretty fresh and cool. But, you know, where's the rest of that on the album? Like, there's no other moments that go for this or anything. I just feel like I'm missing something with this album. I don't know what it is, but I'm listening to this really struggling to get anything out of it. But again, I think I mentioned already, but like, I could maybe see the atmospheric tones of this album being quite a moody setting for you as a listener, and then to top that with Grimes's voice being kind of like ASMR-ish, maybe it sort of could set you into some kind of trance and you're really like in a mood listening to it. You guys know me by now, I need way more than that to be impressed. Like, I can't just listen to this album and get anything out of it, really. You know, any album I put on my year-end list is usually filled with character, personality. I love vocals that stand out in a particular way that gets me gripped. But like, Grimes is just doing everything in the opposite way to what I typically like, so this is just not a good album for me. So maybe for you, you'll be basking in the cloudiness, the misty fogginess of this album, and I'll be over there basking somewhere else in a sunnier setting. I think I'll say hi to you, but yeah, you can play this, but I won't be listening. 4 out of 10 from me. Thank you for watching my review. Hopefully you got something out of it, maybe a different perspective, or if you agree completely with what I'm saying, then I'd love to hear you tell me that in the comments. Or if you don't agree, tell me as well. Tell me, try not to leave a dislike and then leave. I want to hear your thoughts on what it is you're loving. I want to see the different perspectives on this album, because there's definitely something that's just not clicking with my ears, but again, maybe someone else could really find something to love from this. Thank you for watching my review. Have a good day. Subscribe and goodbye.